Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome all new listeners and welcome back to those who have heard my content in the past. If you want to know how to transition athletes into wellness programs, you have to tune into this episode. Before I go on to the podcast, what is new in life? What is better with my fitness, my family, all the above? It is great. We've been on in and out of town for several weeks and just getting back in rhythm. The kids are finally going to school. If you guys didn't hear before my last episodes, my son Jacob, my youngest, which just turned 2, is now going back, or sorry, just starting preschool. So that was a little emotional. And then my kids are going into first grade and kindergarten. So that is what's exciting. And then actually finally getting back into fitness. I took a little bit of a break just from being out of town and just kind of allowing my joints to just reset. So it's good to be back in the mix. But yeah, that is what's happening with life. Let's go on to this podcast. Why are we talking about athletes and wellness programs? Well, this was a great conversation I had with a PT on my team. We talked about the importance and the value that wellness programs offer to the public, and what impact we can actually dramatically have with the people that we serve. And I think that there's a lot of people out there who want to offer wellness programs, or maybe they've tried it in the past, or maybe you don't even know what a wellness program is. And ultimately, you're trying to find more resources to help athletes in your community. This is a great episode for you. So, wellness program. So, let's talk about define what a wellness program is, right? For me, a wellness program is anything above and beyond, initial pain or any type of service that people come to physical therapists for. And most people see us because they have some type of ache that is interfering with their life, and now they want to solve that. And physical therapists, naturally, we're very progressive, right? We want to push people beyond the boundaries, right? Like, let's get you doing more. You start to see their impairments, and you might have somebody with back pain, and they are struggling, right? They're struggling, and you can work on the impairments, you can work on the core strength, but you ultimately think like, well, actually, if I can just get you a little stronger, you'll have a significant reduction. We can fix your movement patterns, but ultimately you just need a little bit more strength behind you, and that will make the biggest difference. And so, for instance, you might have a strength and conditioning wellness program, or you might have a checkup wellness program where you know that you want to be able to offer services or continued care when people need it most. They might need it every 3 months, or check-in or reevaluation or movement analysis. All these things are above and beyond pain relief. And so you might think of it as, once you get patients out of pain, once they hit that baseline, what is the next step for them? And that is what I'm going to consider a wellness program. And in your facility, in your locations, you might see it as something different, but it could be speed and agility training. Either way, it's beyond baseline. And as a profession, this is going to be the next step for us. I think that every clinic, every facility, every physical therapist should be able to offer this and be able to know how to help the community, because there's a lot of people out there who have pain and they're looking for more. They just don't know who to go to. Think about this, right? You have people on Instagram, you have people on YouTube, you have people in your local parks who are all offering a very similar, what looks to be a service where maybe they're getting stretched, or they're out doing ladder drills. Now, is that a personal trainer? Is that a physical therapist? Is that a massage therapist? Is that a chiropractor? There's so many people who might be helping people beyond pain. And ultimately, it's not about, saying what the profession is. It's more about what you can do to offer the people you serve just a little bit more so they can upgrade their lives. They can no longer have to depend on you for pain relief. Ultimately, they can come to you for education and support throughout their process. And that is a vision of mine, that I want every sports physical therapist to have the ability to take their patients not even just to performance, because some patients don't want performance. They want an upgrade in their fitness, or help and support with weight loss, help and support with education, help and support with mechanics, help and support with bike fitting, whatever it is that you do. How do you help them? And there's an art and a science to this. And it's not just, hey, do you want to do this? Or, hey, you should do this. And so I'll outline how to transition athletes into wellness programs, and ultimately the three reasons why they are not successful. And you can find yourself in it. It'll help you in your clinical practice. Yes, you focus on pain, but if you're like me, you're obsessed with how do I get you doing more? How do I you're always trying to push people to help them do more. And all of you got in this profession because you wanted to help people, right? We're very empathetic people who want to be able to help people go to that next level. In order to do that, you have to get rid of the thing that they came into us for, which was, pain. And the next goal is, well, what can we do next? And to answer that question, that's why this podcast was formed. So it was a great conversation with had a team member. And I ultimately think that there's a lot of PTs who can benefit from this. And whether you're a new grad or an established clinician, or you've been practicing for 30 years, we all struggle with this, right? We're really good at managing pain. And we actually have probably taken CEU courses. We have the skill to do strength and conditioning, to program for people. And now you're like, why? I just have a hard time doing it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Where do I start? And I'll give you that roadmap. So that's the context of the podcast, and that's what I want to be able to deliver today to help you inside your career. All right, let me give you three reasons why people have a hard time with this. And this is most physical therapists. It's not just you. It's a lot of us. And programs and wellness programs often fail for three reasons. The first one is poor delivery. And let me give you an example of what not to do and what most physical therapists do inside any clinic. What they'll do is, hi, John. John is a high school athlete who had shin splints and is running cross country. And it's the first month into cross country, and they have shin splints, and you're able to manage it. And you say, you will after we get you out of pain, we're going to get you stronger, right? You get stronger, and you get them out of pain, and it's the eighth visit, right? Whatever they wanted to, or whatever you prescribed, or whatever was on the script pad. You did 8 sessions. You're so excited. You're like, you did it, and then you're like, all right, great. So now we're going to get you stronger. Now we're going to do the thing that is really going to make a big change in your running mechanics, your speed, and everything else. And what happens is that John, or the consumer, or the patient, the athlete, came to you because they had pain. Their primary focus, whether they were referred by a physician, or they found you on online or on Instagram or whatever it is, they came to you because they wanted to relieve the pain. They didn't want to get stronger. That's not appealing to them. And the physical therapist is like, but you need it. It would help your running. And the first part of this is the poor delivery, which is really comes about the timing. Physical therapists will work on pain. They'll get them out of pain. And at the very end, they're like, I hate using this word, discharge. I have a serious disdain for the word discharge, because it means that our relationship has ended. And it means that you're like, you can do this on your own. And imagine if you went to imagine you were on a football team or a basketball team, and the coach says it's the end of the season, you graduated, now moving forward you won't need a coach anymore, next season you're going to be on your own. What do you think about that? But you did great this season, you are now discharged from this team, you are now going to do this on your own next year, have fun. Or you work with maybe a dentist who says, hey, you had no cavities this year. You now know how to floss, and you know how to brush your teeth. You don't need me anymore. So this was your one series of care, and you're now discharged. Have fun. And you imagine A dentist has spent their entire career obsessing about teeth, figuring out how to keep people healthy. There's no way a consumer who doesn't care about teeth can now get all the information on how to manage their oral health for the rest of their life within a series of 6 to 8 visits. The same for a coach and an athlete. An athlete probably has spent, I don't know, 3 months trying to learn the skill, or maybe a couple years, but the coach is obsessed about it. They watch film, they know what to do, how to push and pull, when to turn left, when to turn right. And the athlete doesn't know any better. He just shows up and gets told what to do. Yet in physical therapy, we tell our patients, you know nothing about the body. And now, after 6 visits, your knee is now pain free. You'll be discharged from me, and you never have to worry about that knee pain ever coming back, because now you have all the information on how to self manage your knee pain. That's a little absurd. And for that reason, it's very difficult to use the word discharge, because that person will always need support, just like the athlete who always needs coaching, that person who goes to the dentist who continues to need the services. Heck, if some of you use an accountant for your taxes or whatever it is, imagine that same person telling you, you never have to come back. You can do your taxes on your own. You're like, I don't even know what to do. I hate this stuff. I don't even know what this means. That would be the equivalent of a consumer coming to you with, you fixed my knee. Now I need my shoulder fixed. And you're like, no, you're discharged. You don't have to come back. Or your knee's better now. You don't need me anymore. But they're like, but I want to do more. And the physical therapist wants to help, but they just don't know how to transition them. And that's my biggest frustration with the word discharge. I really think that people, it's a continuum of care. And just because they got the knee better doesn't mean that they'll be pain free and understand everything about that body part. They're a consumer. They have a job. They have a family. What that knee pain took a small portion of their brain space. And you're an expert. They come to see you. You like just word vomit. You dump everything on them, and you hope in 6 visits it gets better. And when it does, you're like, perfect. I did my job. You never have to come back. And the reality is, you always need somebody to help guide you, whether that's 3 months away, 6 months away, or an annual checkup, whatever you want to call it. But the biggest thing you can do is tell that patient or that athlete how you can support them. And so the first problem becomes is a poor delivery. Everybody waits to the very end. So you might say, okay, we get you out of pain and it's you're discharged. You're like, you're ready to go. Oh, by the way, we also have a strength and conditioning program for runners who are really going to help you transition back into running. Does that sound okay for you? And the athlete's like, I didn't even know about that. No, I'm good because I came here for pain relief. So the solution to this is to explain, even as soon as initial evaluation. Listen, we have a couple different routes we can go here. We're going to manage the pain, but ultimately, looking at your movement, looking at your overall testing, your results show that you have really bad running form, you have poor strength, and you've got poor flexibility. Now, I'm going to fix this pain, but if all of these underlying problems are still around, that's going to put you at a disadvantage compared to your peers, and you're always going to have flare ups. So, my goal for you is to work on injury prevention and speed development and form and mechanics. What that's going to do is give you a better platform to resist injuries, but then also to be able to be more successful in your role. So you can, train all season long, compete the highest level of your potential, and then actually enhance your performance. I'm going to explain more as we go through these next 8 visits, but I want you to know that because my main focus is to, one, get out of pain, but if you are interested in doing that over the next 3 months, I can support you with that. And what that patient or that athlete now understands is you have 2 different routes to work with this person. You have different options. So when you can do that for the patients and athletes in your world, it's going to help them understand that you're here to help them and you have different skill sets. Physical therapists, we go through CEU credentials, we go through clinical courses, and we develop all these skills. And it's really unfortunate that the consumer, the public, the most important people in our world don't understand what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. And the best way to do that is not by showing them, certifications or initials behind your name, is by showing them physically inside the sessions how you can upgrade them, verbally doing that. And when you can do this systematically and not wait to the end, this gives them an opportunity to process that, because you get this big shock factor. The consumer doesn't know what you do or how you do it. They just know you're a physical therapist. You were told you manage pain. And at the initial consultation, you're like, listen, I can help many different ways. I can work on an injury prevention program. I can work on a strength conditioning program. I can run I can help with a run better or run faster program, all in addition to the pain free. And what that person now says, wait a minute, I thought you were a physical therapist. We are. Ultimately, I just help you be able to do the things you want to be able to do at the best possible performance. So out of all those things, you have to make a decision right now, but this will help you long term, and I'm here to support you. And now you allow that person to process. They're like, wait a minute, now you have a shock factor. So what happens is when you have this shock factor, if you wait till the discharge, they're like, I'm overwhelmed. I thought I was done. That expectation was not set, and they leave. And the best thing you can do is set that expectation early and not have a poor delivery. So that's the reason, one, that wellness programs don't do well with physical therapists currently. Number two is a poor delivery was the first one, and number two is a poor understanding. Athletes need to have crystal clear understanding of what you do and how you do it. And most of the time, physical therapists, we use jargon, right? Like the PT jargon. The best way I can describe it is a physician, a nurse, anybody in the medical field can understand a physical therapist talking to a patient, but the poor patient doesn't have an understanding of what you're saying and why you're saying it. For instance, they might say, listen, your vastus lateralis is inflamed. You have a grade 2 strain due to poor mechanics. The knee valgus, your ITB is whatever's tight, whatever restricted. You've got a limited TFL flexibility, and your glute med is not working. Also, you have calcaneal eversion, and that's leading to increased stress to the lateral portion of your knee. That consumer's like, what did you just say? And you're like, oh, I see. Your outer knee's hurting because you have poor mechanics and you don't have a really good strength. So we're going to work on that. And so when you use this complicated PT jargon, they don't understand. So the second part of a wellness program is simplifying the message to the person, because ultimately you're not trying to get them stronger. People don't come to physical therapists to get stronger. They come to physical therapists to figure out a solution that somebody else hasn't been able to solve. So that might be their MD, it might be their chiropractor, it might be another physical therapist, it might be a massage therapist. And ultimately you're trying to figure out, how do I help this? And instead of saying we have a strengthening program, it might be we have a performance enhancing running program. We have a youth running enhancement program. And that resonates with them. Like, well, what does that mean? Well, we work with high school runners to work on your running form, so that way it decreases your risk of getting injured again and increases your mechanics so you can run faster and perform better all season long. And that makes more sense to them than a strength and conditioning program. Now, while you see it as a strength and conditioning program, they don't understand, or otherwise they would have gotten a personal trainer. They would have gotten somebody to help specialize in strength and conditioning. Your goal is to help them understand what is it that it's going to help them do that they currently don't have an understanding that you can help with. And on top of poor delivery, most physical therapists will use the complicated jargon to not help the patient or athlete understand. So imagine you have poor delivery, you waited all the way till the 8th visit and you're going to discharge them. And you say, by the way, we have a strength and conditioning program. That doesn't resonate with that person. The expectations were poor. And now you have a program that you built out and it's so beautiful, but you don't have anybody in the program. So what's it worth? So the best thing you can do is communicate what it is that it's going to help them the most. And other thing I can tell you on top of that is, verbal is one thing, but you want to give them maybe like a quick document. Maybe you work it on Microsoft Word or Google Docs or something, just a quick handout. That doesn't have to be fancy. It's just explaining what the ideal scenario for this person would be, kind of like a roadmap. If you listen to my previous podcast, what is that you would give them to help them understand how's it going to help? How many weeks is it? What does it cost? What are the details? And when you can do that, they can help have a better understanding and gives them more options to be successful within that program. So number one was poor delivery, and number two was poor understanding. Now the third one is a little the it's a combination of everything, and that's poor value. Value is very interesting. I had a conversation with a family member of mine. I said, "Is $1,000 expensive?" And he said, "Oh, that's a lot of money." And I was like, "Is $1,000 expensive for a brand new home?" Well, he's like, "Well, no." Okay. Is $1,000 expensive for a candy bar? Yes, very expensive. Is $1,000 expensive for a Ferrari? Well, no. So $1,000 really not expensive. It's just what's the thing you're buying, right? And so that's the thing that most people are caught up in value challenges. People say, "Well, I don't want to do a strength. I don't need a strength and conditioning program." Well, what do you need? Well, I need a running enhancement program. What the consumer doesn't understand is what value the thing you're offering is going to give to them. And if you're a physical therapist who has a lot of skill, a lot of passion, and you want to help people, the biggest challenge you will come into is helping people understand the value you bring to them. And it's not your skills, it's about being able to communicate how you can help them. Whether you work in an orthopedic practice, you work in a hospital, it doesn't matter. We're all humans and we all want to get the most value out of anything, whether that's your gym shorts, your tennis shoes. I love gym shorts. They're very, very important to me. I love a specific cut. I like specific shoes for my workouts. And I am willing to spend the money, spend the time. There are certain vacations that I like enjoying with my family. And there are certain things that are high priority to me. And for some patients, that running form or that national championship or that high school football game or that high school track and field is a lot of value to them. And what you have to do is be able to help them in that journey. But unless you help them understand what it's going to help do for them, it's going to be very difficult for them to make that decision. So ultimately, if you have poor delivery and poor value, you will have a hard time getting people into a wellness program. And that's where most of you are probably struggling. You're like, I have this great program. It's all mapped out. I love it, but I have nobody inside it. And I can't figure out how to transition these people. And number one is you have to have an earlier delivery. You have to have a better understanding, better communication with an informational handout. And then ultimately, you have to be able to provide more value. And this comes in at the initial evaluation and throughout the conversations. You have to figure out what they want and how your program supports that. So, anytime that you're creating a program, what does the athlete want? What do they need versus uh, for you as a physical therapist, we obsess about what people need. They need strength. They need glute med strength. They need transverse abdominal strength. They need to be a belly breather and not a upper chest breather. They need to have a better posture. And that's different than what they want. And your programs, your wellness programs have to be able to have both. And I think that a lot of physical therapists have that challenge because you're offering what people need and they don't want that. And so there's a broken message, there's a broken component to the thing that you want to be able to help them do. And until you can solve that, you will always be stuck with wellness programs that don't serve the people. And the people are the most important. Without people, we don't have a job. Someone recently messaged me and they said, you know, it was about professional growth, the about our profession and how we want to grow the profession. And the profession is one thing. I think that's a really good internal goal. But most importantly, we have to grow our external presence to the consumer because they're the people who literally request our services. And the profession is great because we have to continue to promote that amongst other medical professionals. But the public really doesn't care the height of our profession. What they really care about is selfishly what is it going to do for me? Which is not necessarily a strength wellness program. It is a running enhancement program for youth injuries. And that helps them understand, wow, so it's going to help me run. And I'm a youth athlete. That makes sense to me. And so ultimately, there's three barriers to why wellness programs don't work and how you can solve that. So, number one, offer it earlier. Number two, uh, deliver the information at a consumer level. And number three is you have to provide value, not just on the program name, not the program details. It's how is this going to help the person that you serve? So if you're getting close to discharge, or you have a lot of throwing athletes, you have a lot of runners, you have a lot of whoever it is that you serve, ultimately what you can do is get that person to the next level, but you can't use just their needs. You have to be able to combine that with their wants. And that is what creates success in our profession and our outcomes, because the patient is a person and you have to communicate to the person. Stop trying to treat them like an injured patient who literally obsesses about their body and the mechanics. They don't. They just want to be shown, they want to show up and be told what to do, how to do it, and fast, which is what you would need if, imagine you going and get your tires changed at a local mechanic and they go through the whole spiel. Well, the brake pads and this and this and that, blah, 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 and the outer tread and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I don't care. Can you just fix this for me, please? And if they said, yeah, well, we'll also have a, anytime that you come back, you get a free tire rotation and all this other stuff. It's a one-time tire protection program that allows you to not have to worry. And you can come as many times as you want, and you pay, I don't know, $50 a year. Would that be of interest? And you're like, actually, that sounds amazing. What they didn't say was some complex lingo that makes it like it's the best tire tread and wheel alignment monitor program. And you're like, what does that mean? I don't even need that. But ultimately, you're trying to understand, put yourself in a consumer, put yourself as the patient, and understand they're trying to overcome pain, but ultimately they just want to enjoy life. And if you can help them do that at a faster rate with less worry, people love that. And I hope that you find yourself in that, whether you're just entering the sports world, you are an expert, and there's always things that you can refine. Some of you feel like you're wearing 10 different hats at any given time, and you're really a novice at these and an expert on these, and you're advanced in this portion, and you're always trying to tweak things, and you're always working on your skills, but ultimately you're trying to figure out how can you service your local community that much better. And this is where it starts. These are the places to start. As you refine your skills, don't forget on how you can improve your service and the wellness programs that you provide. So if you love this stuff, this is coming off of I shared this with my academy group. As you guys get deeper into your professional growth, a lot of times you have a lot of challenges and problems, and all problems and challenges are solutions that are not provided yet. And ultimately, when you find yourself stuck and you're like, hey, what should I do with this? What am I missing on this? I want to take my athletes to the next level. What am I missing? These are the conversations I have inside my Sports PT Academy. It's a virtual mentorship group that I help and support people like yourself who are aspiring or current sports physical therapists, and they get stuck in their career path. And rather than depend on biannual CEUs, which really don't really motivate you to get you all hot for about 2-3 weeks, and then you kind of tail off back to your normal day life. My job and my role is to keep you accountable and keep you just thriving your entire career all year long. And that's what I do for my Sports PT Academy. I love every aspect of it. And so if you love navigating these type of scenarios, whether that's clinical practice or acute injuries, taping, mobilization, whatever it is that you need, consider joining my group. It's virtual. We meet once a month. It gives you an opportunity to ensure that you're on the right path, to overcome your frustrations, to know that you're either on the wrong path or on the right path. And if that's for you, send me a message, Dr. Chris at drchrisgarcia.com, or take a look at the information, drchrisgarcia.com/academy. Take a look. I'm excited to see you in the group. Other than that, I'd love to see you at my upcoming course. I think the time of this recording, the event is October 28th and 29th of 2023. That's virtual and in person. And I have some announcements about who will be inside the course and what new attendees we're offering the course to. So I'll announce that very soon. If you're on my newsletter list, I'll announce that in the next couple of days. So other than that, I hope this helps in your career path. I hope you guys are doing well and absolutely crushing it. I will see you guys on the next episode. Take care.